Eva James had always lived a quiet life. At 16, she still felt like a child wrapped inside a soft bubble built by her loving parents. Their home wasn't big, flashy, or noisy, just warm, peaceful, and filled with gentle routines. Breakfast together at 7 a.m. Her mother humming in the kitchen. Her father reading the newspaper. No siblings to fight with. No cousins dropping by. No loud family gatherings that filled houses with chaos. Just the three of them, and Eva liked it that way. She wasn't the type of girl who demanded attention. She blended into hallways, slipped into classrooms unnoticed, and always sat at the corner desk near the window. She liked watching the world quietly. She liked the feeling of the sun touching her cheek through the glass. She liked silence. What she didn't like? Boys. Not because she hated them, she was simply terrified of them. Eva was beautiful in the softest way, warm brown eyes, smooth glowing skin, and a shy smile that made her look almost angelic. But beauty didn't stop her from shrinking whenever a boy walked past. Her stomach tightened. Her palms got sweaty. Her throat refused to let out a word. Not a single boy in school ever talked to her, and even if they tried, she would probably run away before they finished a sentence. But everything changed the day she met Mia Turner. It was the second week of freshman year. Eva was sitting alone in the cafeteria, nibbling on her sandwich, pretending she wasn't lonely. Suddenly, a girl with curly hair, bright lip gloss, and a voice full of confidence dropped her tray right in front of her. "Mind if I sit?" Mia asked boldly. Eva blinked. Sure." And just like that, Mia Turner entered her life like a spark. Mia was everything Eva wasn't: loud, fearless, and funny. She talked to everyone, laughed easily, walked like the world belonged to her, and always had a dramatic story ready to tell. If Eva was quiet sunshine, Mia was fireworks. They became inseparable in less than a week. They studied together in the library. They shared snacks during lunch. They FaceTimed to do homework every night. They even discovered they had the same dream: becoming nurses. So they took every science class possible: biology, chemistry, anatomy, and made a promise to one day work in a hospital together. Eva always had straight A grades. Teachers adored her for her discipline, neat notes, and gentle nature. And Mia adored her too, but in a different way. Eva was the calm to Mia's chaos, the soft breeze to Mia's loud storm. Being around Eva made Mia feel grounded. Being around Mia made Eva feel braver. But there was one thing about Mia that Eva could never understand. Boys. Mia loved boys, talking to them, texting them, flirting with them, evaluating every cute kid in school like she was judging a talent show. Boys can make life easier, Mia would say with a mischievous grin. They help you carry your books, open doors for you, and sometimes they even buy you expensive stuff. Eva would wrinkle her nose. "I don't want a boy to buy me anything. I don't even want them looking at me." Mia laughed every time. "You're too pure, Eva James. One day, a boy will break that bubble you live in." Eva rolled her eyes gently. "Not happening." But sometimes, late at night, Eva wondered what it would feel like to have someone look at her like she mattered. Someone who wasn't a parent or a teacher. Someone who wasn't just a friend. She never said it out loud. She didn't think she deserved attention. She didn't think boys notice girls like her, quiet, shy, always blending in. Still, a tiny part of her hoped that maybe, just maybe, something in her life would change. Something that would make her story different from the quiet corner she was used to. And she had no idea. That change was already on its way. Walking through the school doors. Breathing the same hallway air. Looking for something or someone. Eva James had no idea her world was about to shift. But it would. Very soon.
The old woman tried to stand, but her legs trembled like thin sticks struggling to hold up a heavy load. Kalechi's heart squeezed at the sight. She looked as though one stronger breeze could knock her over again. Without a second thought, he stepped forward and placed his arm around her waist. "It's okay, Ma. Lean on me," he said softly. She hesitated, almost embarrassed, but finally allowed him to support her. Her weight was light, too light, Kalechi noticed, the way someone who had been missing too many meals might feel. Step by step, they moved together down the quiet road. Her breath came in slow, shaky intervals, while Kalechi kept adjusting his pace so she wouldn't fall behind. Every few steps, she whispered, "I'm sorry, my son. I'm slowing you down." But he shook his head each time. "Don't worry, Ma. You're safe with me." The sky had deepened into purples and blues now, and the chirping of crickets grew louder. They approached the edge of the market square, a once bustling place now turning silent as traders packed up their goods. Kalechi glanced around desperately. Wooden tables were being folded. Sheds were being locked. Bags of pepper, beans, and corn were disappearing into wheelbarrows as tired traders hurried home before darkness settled fully. But the old woman's stolen basket of fruits? Nowhere. Kalechi bit his lip. He didn't want to fail her, not after she had already suffered so much. So he guided her to a wooden bench and gently helped her sit down. "Ma, rest here. I'll find your basket." She grabbed his wrist, her voice trembling. "No, my son. It's getting late. Go home. Your parents will worry." "My mother knows I'm on the long road," he said with a small smile. "And she knows I help people." Before she could protest further, he stepped away and started searching. First, he approached a vegetable seller folding her umbrella. "Auntie, did you see anyone running with a fruit basket?" She shook her head. "No, but I heard someone crying earlier." Then he asked a woman sweeping the front of her stall. Her answer was the same. Kalechi moved from stall to stall, asking, searching, hoping. His voice got softer each time, worry tightening his chest, but he refused to stop. He couldn't bear the thought of going back to the old woman empty-handed. After almost 10 minutes of searching, he stopped to catch his breath. The sky was nearly dark now. Lanterns were being lit. People were leaving. Maybe the thief had already escaped. But then, something small shifted behind a wooden kiosk. Kalechi narrowed his eyes. There was movement, like someone crouching. He stepped closer carefully, and the shape became clearer. A boy, no older than Kalechi, maybe even younger, sat hidden behind the kiosk. His clothes were torn, his feet bare, his face streaked with dirt. And in his arms, pressed tightly against his chest, the stolen basket. Kalechi's heart didn't jump in anger. It jumped in understanding. He approached slowly, his footsteps soft, not wanting to scare him. When he finally stood a few steps away, he said gently, "Why did you take it?" The boy flinched but didn't run. His eyes glistened, and his voice came out in a whisper so small it almost disappeared into the night air. I was hungry." Kalechi stared at him for a long moment. The boy's ribs were visible, his hands trembling. Not from fear, but from weakness. It reminded Kalechi of the old woman sitting alone on the road. Two people suffering for different reasons but caught in the same world of struggle. Slowly, Kalechi crouched down so their eyes were level. "You could have asked," he said softly. "People would have helped." The boy shook his head. "Nobody listens to boys like me." Kalechi sighed deeply, not out of anger but sadness. He gently reached forward and lifted the basket from the boy's thin arms. "Next time," he said, "just ask." The boy looked up, surprised, maybe expecting Kalechi to shout or punish him. But instead, he saw kindness. Real kindness. Kalechi stood up and turned back toward the old woman. When he reached her, her worried expression changed the moment she saw the basket. For the first time that evening, she smiled through her tears. "My son, thank you." And in that moment, Kalechi felt something deep and powerful settle in his chest. A feeling he couldn't yet name, but one day would understand. The world was heavy, but he was strong enough to carry part of it. And he would keep carrying it again and again. This was only the beginning. The walk to her home was slow, gentle, and strangely peaceful. The old woman leaned on Kelechi for support, and though his small frame carried her weight with effort, he didn't complain. The sky above them was now a deep blue blanket dotted with early stars, and the cool evening breeze brushed against their faces. Her house appeared at the far end of the village, a tiny round hut with a slanted roof, the kind Kelechi had seen since he was a child but never really paid attention to. A small clay pot sat outside, and a mat lay neatly rolled beside the doorway. The hut was old, but it was clean, cared for, and warm in a way that made Kelechi feel something like comfort. "We're here," she said softly, her voice tired but grateful. Kelechi led her to the door. She fumbled for a moment before saying, "My son, come inside. At least rest your feet." He hesitated. His mother always told him not to enter strangers' homes without reason. But this woman wasn't a stranger, not anymore. She was someone he had helped, someone who needed him. And more than anything, Kelechi didn't want her to feel alone tonight, so he nodded. "Okay, ma." The inside of her hut surprised him. It was small, yes, but it told stories. Old framed pictures hung on the mud walls. A young man laughing, a woman stirring a pot, a baby wrapped in a shawl. Handmade crafts, woven baskets, bead ornaments, and a carved wooden spoon decorated the shelves. A clay lantern sat in the corner, waiting to be lit. She struck a match, and the flame glowed warmly, throwing soft shadows across the room. Kelechi looked around in quiet awe. "Your home is beautiful." She smiled as she lowered herself onto a stool. "Thank you, my son. Everything here was made by my family." Kelechi's gaze drifted back to the pictures. The young man in most of them had a bright smile, the kind that made you want to smile back. The woman followed his eyes. "That's my son," she whispered. Kelechi turned, sensing a heaviness in her voice he hadn't noticed before. "He died many years ago," she continued, her fingers gripping the edge of her wrapper. "A sickness took him before help could reach us. He was only 17. Kelechi's heart tightened. I'm so sorry, ma." Her eyes filled with tears, but they didn't fall. Instead, she reached out and cupped his cheek gently, like a mother comforting a child, even though she was the one who needed comfort. "You remind me of him," she said. "The way you helped me today. That was how my son used to help others. Without fear. Without hesitation." Kelechi didn't know what to say. He felt something warm in his chest, something that made him sit a little straighter. She motioned toward a wooden plate on the table. "Eat something. You look tired." "Oh, no, ma, I'm fine." "Please," she insisted, her eyebrows raised in that motherly way adults have when they won't accept a no. Kelechi smiled shyly and nodded. She brought him a small portion of food, yam and palm oil, simple but warm. As he ate, she watched him quietly, her eyes soft and filled with a kind of peace he didn't understand. "You eat like a child who works hard," she said with a chuckle. "My mother says I think too much for someone my age," Kelechi replied, grinning. The woman laughed, a gentle musical sound that made the small hut feel even warmer. When he finished eating, he stood and dusted his hands. "I should go. It's getting late." The woman nodded and slowly stood up with the help of her cane. Then, she reached into a wooden bowl and lifted something small and colorful. A bracelet handmade with tiny beads, woven into a delicate pattern of blue, gold, and black. She placed it gently into Kelechi's palm. "For protection," she said. He blinked, surprised. "Ma, I can't take this." "But you must," she insisted. Her voice softened, almost like a whisper carried by the wind. "It belonged to my son. And now, it belongs to the boy who brought peace to an old woman's heart." Kelechi stared at the bracelet, feeling its weight, light, yet meaningful. "For destiny," she added quietly. He didn't understand what she meant, not yet, but as he walked home through the starry night, the bracelet warm against his skin, he felt something shift inside him, something new, something bigger than he could explain. the kind of feeling that only destiny brings.
The first 2 weeks of dating Liam felt like a dream, sweet, exciting, and full of first ever never imagined she'd experience. He walked her to class, held her hand in the hallways, and texted her every night until she fell asleep. For a girl who had spent her entire life unnoticed, it felt like stepping into the spotlight for the first time. But slowly, quietly, something began to shift. Eva started sleeping. Her perfect schedule, the one she'd built for years, began to crumble piece by piece. First, she skipped one after-school science club meeting. Then 2. Then she stopped going completely. Her homework, once neat and completed days early, became late or rushed. Sometimes she didn't do it at all. Her grades, always straight A's, began dipping to B's, then C's. Teachers started asking if everything was okay. Eva always smiled and said, "Just tired." But the truth was simpler. She was tired, but not from school. She was tired from trying to keep up with Liam. He wanted to hang out every day after school. If she tried to leave early, he'd pout or hug her tighter. "One more hour," he'd say. "We don't get enough time together. You have all weekend to study." Eva believed him. She trusted him. He made her feel special, like she finally belonged somewhere. But Mia noticed the changes instantly. One afternoon, she came to Eva's house with her backpack and a stack of review sheets. "We need to study," Mia said, dropping her books on the bed. "Midterms are in 2 weeks. Let's go." Eva wasn't listening. Her phone buzzed. A message from Liam. "Come outside. I miss you." Eva's heart fluttered. She stood up. "Eva," Mia said. "Where are you going?" Eva slipped on her shoes. "Liam's outside." Mia blinked. "Didn't you see the test calendar? You haven't studied in days." Eva shrugged. "I'll study later." "No," Mia said, stepping in her way. "Eva, you're never home anymore. You're always with Liam. I'm happy you're in love or whatever, but you're losing yourself. And your grades. And honestly, I'm worried." Eva froze, shocked. She'd never heard Mia sound so serious. But then something ugly bubbled inside her, something she didn't recognize. Her eyes narrowed. "You're jealous." The silence in the room became heavy. Mia's mouth fell open. "Jealous? Eva, what? Why would I be jealous?" "Because Liam chose me," Eva said coldly. "And boys always like you, but not this time." The words flew out sharp as knives, and they landed perfectly, painfully. Mia's eyes filled with hurt, but she held her voice steady. "Eva, I'm not jealous. I'm your best friend. I'm trying to help you. You're not acting like yourself." Eva didn't want to hear it. Her heart was pounding. Her mind was clouded with anger she didn't understand. She grabbed her bag and marched toward the door. "Whatever. You don't get it." "Eva, wait." But Eva didn't wait. She slammed the door behind her. She found Liam leaning against a tree outside, hands in his pockets, smile easy and calm. "What's wrong?" he asked, seeing her red eyes. Eva took a shaking breath. "Mia thinks I'm changing. She says I'm losing myself because of you." Liam rolled his eyes dramatically. "Of course she'd say that. What do you mean?" He shrugged. "Mia's always had all the attention from boys. And now you finally have something special, she doesn't. It makes sense she'd feel threatened." Eva frowned. "You think so?" "I know so," Liam said confidently. "Girls get jealous. Especially when they see a happy relationship." Eva hesitated, but she trusted Liam. So she believed him. 2 weeks later, midterms came. Eva felt unprepared, a knot in her stomach twisting tighter with every question she didn't know. She stared at her paper, heart racing, mind blank. She hadn't studied. She'd skipped every group review. The formulas she used to know by heart had vanished. Meanwhile, Mia, sitting across the room, scribbled answers confidently, her expression focused and calm. When results came back, Eva's world shattered. She failed. Badly. Her lowest scores ever. Her hands shook as she held the paper. Tears bled the red ink marking every mistake. Mia, on the other hand, had the highest score in the entire junior class. Liam found Eva crying outside after school. She fell into his arms, hiding her face in his hoodie, letting her shame spill out in sobs. He stroked her hair gently. Eva, he whispered, school is overrated. Grades don't matter that much. You don't need college to be happy. But I wanted to be a nurse, she choked out. You can still be happy without a big career, he insisted. I'll take care of you. You don't need to stress. And again. Eva believed him. Even though something deep inside her whispered that she was losing everything she once worked hard for. The following week, Eva felt like she was living inside a fog, one she couldn't escape, no matter how much she tried to pretend everything was normal. Her teachers kept giving her concerned looks. Her parents kept knocking gently on her door, asking if she wanted to talk. Mia barely said a word to her anymore. But Eva didn't care about any of that. All she cared about was Liam. He was the only person who made her feel seen. Valued. Important. She clung to that feeling, even as everything else in her life slowly cracked around the edges. That's why, one afternoon, she rushed outside after school with excitement fluttering in her chest. She headed straight to their usual meeting spot, the old wooden bench hidden behind the gym, tucked between two tall bushes. It was where Liam always waited for her. It was their place. Eva sat down and smiled to herself. He'd be here any minute. 5 minutes passed. 10. 20. Eva checked her phone, no messages. She brushed it off. Maybe he was talking to a teacher. Maybe practice ran late. Maybe he had forgotten his phone in his locker. But another 20 minutes passed. Then another. The sky began to darken. A cold breeze blew past. Still, no Liam. Eva hugged her knees to her chest. Something inside her began to twist, a slow, creeping worry she didn't want to acknowledge. She finally walked home, whispering to herself, maybe he's sick. Maybe tomorrow. But tomorrow brought no Liam. No text. No calls. Nothing. And the next day. Still nothing. Eva's stomach wouldn't stop knotting. She waited behind the gym again. She walked through the hallways hoping to spot him. She checked the football field. She even asked a few people if they'd seen him. They hadn't. By day 4, she couldn't sleep. By day 5, she barely ate. By day 6, she felt like she was drowning. Her parents noticed. Eva, sweetheart, her mom said softly at dinner, is everything okay? Eva's throat tightened. I'm fine. She wasn't. The 7th day arrived, and Eva dragged herself to the bench again, even though she knew it was pointless. But this time, Liam was there. Standing beside the bench. Holding a bouquet of flowers. Eva froze. Her heart raced with relief and anger and confusion all at once. Where were you? She asked, tears filling her eyes. Liam smiled as if nothing had happened. Eva, relax. I'm here now. That's not an answer, she whispered. He didn't offer one. Instead, he stepped forward and pressed the flowers into her hands. I missed you. I'm sorry. Things just got complicated. Complicated. The word felt wrong. Too vague. Too empty. But Eva loved him, or thought she did, so she took the apology even though he gave her nothing else. Then Liam said the sentence that cracked everything open. "Eva, let's run away together." Eva blinked. "What?" "Just you and me," Liam said, eyes glowing with excitement. "Forget school. Forget this town. Forget everything. We can live freely. I bought an RV. An RV. A real one." Eva felt her pulse pounding in her ears. "You want me to leave everything?" "Everything," Liam said firmly. "It's you and me against the world. Don't you want that?" Eva hesitated. Her parents. Her dreams of becoming a nurse. Her best friend. Her entire life. But Liam held her hands and whispered, "You don't need college. You don't need rules. You don't need anything they want for you. You just need me." And Eva, fragile and desperate for love, believed him. That night, she packed her bags in silence. Clothes. Toiletries. A framed picture of her family. A notebook she wrote in when she was sad. When she came downstairs with her suitcase, her parents were sitting in the living room waiting for her, their faces pale with worry. "What's happening?" her dad asked, standing quickly. Eva swallowed. "I'm leaving." Her mom gasped. "Eva, no." "I'm tired of your boring life," Eva snapped. "I'm tired of never doing anything exciting. Liam makes me happy." Her father's voice cracked. "Please think about this. You're only 16. You don't know him." "I know enough," Eva yelled. Her mother burst into tears. "Baby, please don't go. Please." Eva's heart twisted painfully, but her pride pushed harder. "I'm going," she said, voice breaking. And she walked out the door, not knowing she was stepping into something far darker than she imagined. The first week in the RV felt like stepping into a fantasy world Eva didn't know she wanted but suddenly believed she needed. It was nothing like home. Nothing like school. Nothing like the predictable routines she had lived in for 16 years. This was movement. Freedom. Adventure. Or at least, that's what Eva kept telling herself. The RV wasn't fancy, at all. The walls were scratched, the curtains were old, and the small bed squeaked loudly every time either of them moved. But Liam made everything feel magical. They traveled from town to town, driving with the windows down as the wind tangled their hair. They parked near beaches, where they watched the waves crash under pink sunsets. They slept near lakes that reflected the sky like a perfect mirror. They even camped near a forest once, where the sound of crickets filled the night air like music. Eva took pictures of all of it, the skies, the trees, the sunlight. Liam insisted she take pictures of them together too. In every picture, Liam's arm was wrapped around her. And every time, Eva's heart beat a little faster. At night, they laid on the roof of the RV and looked at the stars, laughing about random things, bad teachers, weird high school rumors, songs they both loved. Liam wasn't always cheerful, but when he smiled, Eva felt like she was the only girl in the universe. For a while, she convinced herself this was perfect. This was love. This was the future she wanted. But small cracks began appearing, cracks she tried to ignore. Sometimes Liam woke up moody and snapped over tiny things like the RV being too warm or the breakfast being too cold. Sometimes he disappeared for hours to get supplies, and Eva didn't know where he went. Sometimes he looked scared, like he was running from more than just responsibility. But she pushed those thoughts away. Love meant understanding. Love meant patience. Love meant sacrifice. Right. One morning, Eva was curled up on the tiny RV couch, scrolling through Instagram to distract herself from missing home. She hadn't posted anything in days, not since leaving. Her profile felt like a ghost of her old life. Then she saw it. Mia Turner, accepted into her dream nursing program Patipapa woman health worker medium skin tone. The picture showed Mia holding her acceptance letter, smiling brightly with her parents hugging her on both sides. The caption read, "Hard work pays off. Next step, my future." Eva's heart stopped. She stared at the post until her eyes burned. She read the caption again. And again. And again. Her breath shook. That was supposed to be her future too. She was supposed to be preparing for exams. She was supposed to be taking science classes with Mia. She was supposed to be chasing her dream of becoming a nurse, not wandering around in a second-hand RV, throwing away her future for a boy she barely knew before junior year. A heavy sadness filled her chest, pressing down on her like a weight. "What am I doing?" she whispered. She imagined herself in a white nursing uniform, helping patients, making her parents proud, living the life she had always promised herself. Instead, she was sitting in a broken RV with someone who disappeared for days, someone whose past she didn't fully understand. Tears filled her eyes. She covered her face, letting the emotions crash over her: guilt, fear, regret, confusion. But then she heard footsteps outside. Liam climbed into the RV, hair messy, eyes tired. He looked at her and immediately frowned. "You okay?" Eva quickly wiped her tears. "Yeah. Just saw something online." Liam sat beside her slowly. "What?" She hesitated but showed him Mia's post. His expression tightened: jealousy. Anger. Something else. "That's great for her," he said flatly. "But you don't need that. College, school, all of it is a trap. You're free now. With me." Eva swallowed hard. I wanted that future." He took her hand. "You have a different future now. With me. And I need you. You know that, right?" Eva looked at him, really looked at him. He seemed small, damaged, lonely. Like someone who didn't have a home to return to. Like someone who would crumble if she left. A wave of guilt washed over her. "He needs me," she whispered to herself. "I'm not leaving him." Liam kissed her forehead, satisfied. To prove she was committed, to prove to herself she wasn't making a mistake, Eva grabbed her phone and snapped a picture of the RV with Liam in the background. She posted it with a caption full of hearts and romantic words. "Adventure with the one who makes my world complete." 2 heart sparkles. Then she turned off her phone before she could see anyone's comments. Before she could see reality. And she leaned into the fantasy again. The sun had barely risen when Eva woke up to the sound of birds singing outside the RV window. For a moment, everything felt peaceful. She stretched, rubbed her sleepy eyes, and smiled softly as she looked over at Liam, still asleep beside her. Maybe today would be a good day. Maybe things were finally settling. But peace lasted exactly 3 minutes. Because suddenly, bang, bang, bang. Violent knocking shook the entire RV. Eva jolted upright. Liam shot awake, eyes wide. Before either of them could speak, a voice shouted from outside. "Police! Open up!" Eva's heart dropped into her stomach. Her hands trembled. Her breath came in quick, sharp gasps. "What's happening?" she whispered. Liam froze. His eyes darted from the door to the mini window to the door again. "Don't open it," he whispered harshly. "Don't say anything." But the knocking grew louder. More forceful. "Open the door now." Eva was shaking so badly she couldn't think. Liam grabbed her shoulders. "Eva, listen to me." Too late. The door swung open. 3 police officers stepped inside, their expressions serious and unreadable. "Are you Eva James?" one of them asked. Eva nodded weakly. Before she could say another word, 2 officers pulled her forward and snapped handcuffs around her wrist. Cold metal. Cold fear. Cold shock. What did I do? She stammered, tears already stinging her eyes. This RV was reported stolen, an officer explained. You're coming with us. Eva's knees nearly buckled. Stolen, she repeated, voice cracking. I didn't know. Behind her, Liam stepped back, eyes wide, face pale. Wait, it's not her fault. I swear. But the officers ignored him. Eva felt the world spinning as they guided her out of the RV and into the police van. The metal bench inside felt like ice. She sobbed uncontrollably, her mind racing in circles of fear and confusion. Everything she thought she knew. Everything she thought she trusted. Everything she thought she was doing. It all crashed. At the police station, an officer handed her a phone. You're allowed one call. Eva stared at the phone with shaking hands. There was only one number her heart knew in moments like this. Her parents. She pressed the button slowly, tears dripping onto the device. Hello, her mother answered. The moment Eva heard her voice, her tears poured like a waterfall. Mom, she cried, unable to breathe properly. Please help me. I'm scared. There was silence. Then her mother's voice broke into sobs. Eva baby. Oh my goodness, where are you? Are you safe? Are you okay? Your dad is here, we're coming right now, don't hang up. Her father's voice came through too, thick with tears. Eva, we love you. We're on our way. It's okay. Everything will be okay. Eva wept harder. It was the first time she had spoken to them in months. The first time she had reached out. The first time she felt like a child again, desperate, scared, needing her family. And her parents, they didn't yell. They didn't scold. They cried out of relief. She had expected anger. Instead, she got love. Hours later, Liam showed up at the station. He burst through the doors, hair messy, face red, breathing hard. Eva, are you okay? He cried out. She looked up at him with swollen eyes. Liam, did you know the RV was stolen? I didn't think they'd find out, he muttered, voice shaking. I swear I didn't want to get you in trouble. He knelt beside her chair, grabbing her hands desperately. Eva, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Please don't leave me. You're the only one I have. I can't survive without you. He broke down crying, loud, dramatic sobs that drew everyone's attention. Eva's chest twisted painfully. She hated seeing him cry. She hated feeling responsible for his pain. She hated the guilt consuming her. The officer approached. Your parents will be here soon, Eva. You'll be released into their care. At that sentence, Liam panicked. No, he cried. No, you can't leave me. They'll take you away. They'll turn you against me. Please, Eva, you promised we'd stay together. Please. Eva felt torn in half. Her parents were coming. Liam was begging. And deep down, she knew she needed to go home, but she also knew how fragile Liam was, how broken he seemed, how lost he would be without her. So she made the same mistake again. She wiped his tears, took his shaking hands, and whispered, I'm not leaving you. Liam collapsed into her arms, sobbing with relief. Eva couldn't see it yet. But she wasn't saving him. She was losing herself. All over again.
The weeks after the police incident felt like walking through a storm Eva couldn't escape. She and Liam moved the RV constantly, avoiding busy areas, staying in abandoned parking lots or hidden clearings near forest. Eva barely slept. Liam barely talked. Something between them felt heavy now, like the magic had drained out of their adventure, leaving only fear behind. But nothing prepared her for what came next. One morning, Eva woke up feeling unusually dizzy. Her stomach hurt. She felt sick just thinking about food. She blamed stress, exhaustion, the chaos of their life. But after days of nausea, she knew. She sat alone in the tiny RV bathroom holding the pregnancy test in trembling hands. 2 lines. Positive. Her breath caught. Her knees almost buckled. She pressed a hand against her mouth to stop the sob that climbed her throat. Pregnant. A 16-year-old runaway with no school, no home, no parents, no future. And now a baby. Her baby. She sank to the floor, tears streaming down her cheeks. How did my life end up here? What am I supposed to do? She cried silently, not wanting Liam to hear just yet. She needed time, just a moment, to breathe. But that moment never came. Because that same night, her entire world shattered. It was past midnight. The RV was quiet. Eva lay on the bed with her hands over her stomach, whispering to the tiny life inside her. She didn't hear the footsteps outside. She didn't hear the angry voices. But she heard the crash when the RV door flew open. 3 large men stormed inside, faces twisted with rage. Before Eva could scream, they grabbed Liam, yanking him off the bed and throwing him to the floor. Liam begged, terrified, shaking, helpless. "You think you can disappear?" one man shouted. "You owe us money, boy. A lot of money." Eva's heart nearly stopped. Liam. Owing money. To men like this. She clutched her stomach protectively and fell to her knees. "Please," she sobbed. "Please don't hurt him. Please, he'll pay, I promise, just stop." The men ignored her as they punched Liam again and again. Blood spilled onto the floor. Liam's screams echoed through the RV. Eva grabbed the leg of one attacker, begging, pleading, crying so hard her chest hurt. "I'm pregnant," she screamed in desperation. "Please, please stop, please." The men froze, not out of kindness, but out of annoyance. "Tell him to get the money," one growled. "Or next time, we won't stop." Then they left, slamming the door behind them. Eva rushed to Liam's side, shaking uncontrollably as she tried to clean the blood from his face. "Why?" she whispered. "Why didn't you tell me?" But Liam was barely conscious. Eva stayed awake all night, holding him, crying silently, terrified the men would return. Terrified for him. Terrified for her baby. Terrified of her entire life. She had never hit rock bottom before. But now she was buried beneath it. The next morning, while Liam slept painfully, Eva sat outside the RV, knees pulled to her chest. For the first time, she opened Instagram, hoping to feel normal for even a second. And there it was. MIA Turner, graduation and engagement announcement ring sparkles graduation cap. A picture of Mia in a white dress. A graduation cap in one hand. Her fiancé, her smiling, confident fiancé, holding her other hand. Both sets of parents behind them, proud and glowing. Eva's heart shattered. She cried until her throat burned. She cried until her eyes were swollen. She cried until she couldn't breathe. Mia graduated. Mia moved forward. Mia was engaged. And Eva? She was hiding in a stolen RV, pregnant, scared, broke, and completely lost. That night, unable to hold the pain inside any longer, Eva did something she had never imagined she'd do. She asked Mia to meet her. Mia arrived at the quiet park behind their old school, her face a mixture of shock, anger, and heartbreaking relief. "Eva," she whispered when she saw her. Eva broke instantly. She told Mia everything. The pregnancy. The stolen RV. The police. The deaths. The beatings. The nights she barely survived. The fear she couldn't escape. Mia's face crumpled. She pulled Eva into the tightest hug she'd ever given anyone. Eva, she cried softly, go home. Please. You don't deserve this. You deserve a future. A real future. Eva shook her head, tears dripping onto Mia's shoulder. I can't leave him, she whispered. He needs me. Mia pulled back, holding her face gently. No, Eva, you need saving now. But Eva looked down at her stomach, then toward the dark road where the RV sat parked. And she whispered the words that kept her trapped. I can't leave him. He needs me. And Mia's heart broke for her.
A week passed in a blur of fear. The RV felt smaller every day. The air felt heavier. Liam barely slept, jumping at the sound of footsteps, checking the windows constantly, acting like danger was hiding behind every shadow. Eva tried her best to stay calm, but every kick inside her stomach reminded her that she wasn't just protecting herself anymore. She was protecting someone innocent. Someone tiny. Someone who deserved a world better than this one. One evening, just as the sky turned purple, Liam burst into the RV, slamming the door so hard the walls shook. His face was pale. His breathing fast. His eyes wild with panic. Eva, he gasped. The guys I owe money to, they found me. They are coming. I think I have to sell the RV. Eva froze. Sell the RV. Their home. Their only shelter. She swallowed her fear and forced her voice to stay calm. Okay, she whispered. If that's what you need to do. But inside, her heart was breaking. Because now she knew the truth. This wasn't a road trip. This wasn't adventure. This was survival. And she was running out of strength. That night, Liam fell asleep instantly, exhausted, stressed, and emotionally drained. But Eva sat on the floor beside the tiny bed, one hand on her belly, the other wiping tears from her eyes. The RV was quiet. Too quiet. And with that silence came a voice inside her, the one she had ignored for months, the one she finally had the courage to listen to. I want a better life for you, she whispered to her unborn baby. I want you to be safe. I want you to have hope. I want you to have a future. Her voice cracked. And staying here won't give you that. She reached for her phone, shaking, terrified, but determined. She dialed the one person who had never stopped caring. Mia, she breathed. Mia's voice came instantly, alive with worry. Eva. Are you okay? Talk to me. Eva closed her eyes. Come get me now. There was no hesitation. I'm coming. 20 minutes later, Mia's car headlights appeared in the distance. Eva quietly packed her clothes, her toothbrush, the baby photo she planned to frame someday. She didn't take much, only what she needed. Her hands trembled as she zipped her bag. Leaving felt wrong. But staying felt impossible. She took one last look at Liam sleeping on the bed, broken, lost, afraid. For a moment, guilt tugged at her heart, but she pressed a hand over her stomach and remembered. This isn't just about him anymore. She stepped outside. Mia rushed to her, threw her arms around her, and whispered, "You're doing the right thing." Eva could barely speak, but she nodded. Together, they loaded her things into the car and drove away. The RV grew smaller in the rearview mirror until it disappeared completely. And Eva felt the first breath of freedom she had taken in months. When they finally pulled up to Eva's house, her legs felt weak. She almost couldn't bring herself to knock. What if her parents hated her? What if they shut the door? What if they couldn't forgive her? Her hand trembled as she reached for the doorknob. The door opened before she even touched it. Her mother stood there, eyes wide, mouth open, hand covering her chest. She looked at Eva, then at her swollen belly, and her knees nearly gave out. "Eva," she whispered. Eva burst into tears. Her mother grabbed her, hugging her so tightly Eva could hardly breathe. She cried into her daughter's hair, shaking with relief and heartbreak. Her father appeared behind them, his eyes red, his jaw trembling. He didn't say a word, he just wrapped both of them in his arms and cried too. Eva clung to them, sobbing apologies she couldn't stop. "I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm home. I'm home." They brought her inside, wrapped her in warm blankets, made her soup, and tucked her onto the couch. Her mother sat beside her all night, holding her hand, rubbing her back, refusing to sleep. She had already lost Eva once. She wasn't letting her go again. The next week, Eva took the first steps toward rebuilding her future. She enrolled in online high school nursing prep classes, determined to catch up on everything she'd missed. Her parents helped her find a counselor. She joined a support group for teen moms. She started journaling. She started healing. The road ahead was long. But Eva was home. Safe. Loved. And finally ready to fight for the life she and her baby deserved. The last weeks of Eva's pregnancy passed quietly, wrapped in the warmth of her parents' love. For the first time in months, she slept safely. She ate proper meals. She took warm showers without fear someone would break down the door. Life wasn't perfect, but it was healing. Every night, her mother rubbed her belly and whispered to the baby. Every morning, her father made her tea and reminded her she was strong. And every day, Eva felt a little bit more like herself again. But nothing prepared her for what happened next. It was midnight when it started. Eva woke from her sleep with a sharp pain tightening across her stomach. She gasped, grabbed the edge of the bed, and waited for it to pass. But it didn't. Instead, it grew stronger, and suddenly, she felt a warm rush of water spill beneath her. Her heart jumped. "Mom," she cried, voice trembling. "Mom. Dad." Her parents ran into the room instantly. One look at the soaked blanket and they knew. Her mother's voice shook. "Baby, your water broke." Everything happened fast after that. Her father grabbed the hospital bag. Her mother held her arm as they walked to the car. Eva breathed through the pain, gripping the seat as contractions hit harder and harder. By the time they reached the hospital, Eva could barely walk. Nurses rushed her onto a bed, checking her vitals, helping her breathe, guiding her gently through every wave of pain. Hours passed. Hours of squeezing her mother's hand. Hours of her father pacing outside her door, praying softly. Hours of pushing, breathing, crying, and hoping she could survive the intensity. Until finally, a cry filled the room. A tiny cry. Sharp. Beautiful. Alive. The doctor smiled brightly. "It's a girl." Eva's world stopped. Her daughter, her miracle, was placed in her arms, wrapped in a soft pink blanket. Eva looked at her tiny face, her little nose, her small delicate fingers reaching up as if searching for her mother. And in that single moment, everything Eva had ever been afraid of faded away. She felt peace. She felt strength. She felt freedom. She had survived. Her daughter blinked up at her with soft hazel eyes, and Eva whispered, "Hi, baby. I'm here." For the first time in months, she truly meant it. 2 days later, while resting in her hospital room with her newborn sleeping on her chest, Eva's phone buzzed with a news alert. She almost ignored it until she saw the headline. "Teenage boy arrested for robbery, linked to stolen RV case." Her breath caught. It was Liam. The article explained everything: the robberies, the deaths, the stolen RV, the police chase, and how he had been hiding for months. It was all finally catching up to him. Eva closed her eyes. A slow, heavy exhale escaped her lips. Not anger. Not sadness. Just acceptance. "Thank you for letting me come home," she whispered to the ceiling, to whatever had been watching over her all this time. She looked down at her daughter, gently touched her cheek, and kissed her forehead. Her past didn't define her. Her mistakes didn't destroy her. They shaped her, made her wiser, stronger, braver. And now she had someone to live for. Someone to protect. Someone who deserved nothing but love, safety, and hope. Eva held her baby close and smiled through her tears. Her story wasn't over. It was finally, beautifully, beginning.